Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Emma International Deep Dive Podcast. We're excited to be kicking off Season 5, and we've got an incredible lineup of conversations planned around the biggest challenges and opportunities facing the life sciences industry today. I'm Eric, and joining me today is my colleague, Sarah. Sarah, welcome to the first episode of the new season.
Thanks, Eric. I'm excited to be here. I think we're starting with a topic that's been on just about everyone's radar over the past few years: reshoring pharmaceutical manufacturing. Whether you're a manufacturer, a supplier, or someone working in quality or regulatory affairs, you've probably heard this conversation happening. But today, we want to go beyond the headlines and talk about what reshoring actually means for pharmaceutical companies and what organizations need to consider before making the move.
Exactly. Reshoring has become much more than a buzzword. It's a strategic business decision that affects operations, quality, compliance, and ultimately patient access to medicines. So let's jump right in. Sarah, if we rewind 10 or 15 years, the focus was almost entirely on globalization. Companies were expanding manufacturing around the world, looking for lower costs and increased production capacity. Now the conversation is almost flipped. What changed?
A lot changed. COVID-19 was obviously one of the biggest catalysts. Companies suddenly realized how dependent they were on overseas suppliers and manufacturing sites. When borders closed, shipping slowed, and production stopped in certain regions, the ripple effects were enormous. But it wasn't just the pandemic. We've also seen geopolitical tensions, trade uncertainties, inflation, transportation delays, and concerns around national security. Governments started asking an important question: what happens if we can't manufacture essential medicines when we need them?
Exactly. Pharmaceutical manufacturing isn't just another industry, it's directly tied to public health. When patients can't access critical medications because of supply chain disruptions, that's a much bigger issue than delayed deliveries. Companies began looking at resilience just as seriously as cost.
One thing I think people misunderstand is that reshoring isn't simply packing up equipment overseas and rebuilding it somewhere else. It's usually a complete transformation.
Absolutely. You're evaluating suppliers, redesigning manufacturing processes, implementing new technologies, expanding quality systems, hiring employees, validating equipment, qualifying facilities, and in many cases, building entirely new manufacturing capabilities. It's a massive undertaking.
And because it's such a large investment, companies have an opportunity to modernize while they're making the move. Many organizations aren't recreating what they had before. They're building smarter facilities with more automation and digital technologies from the ground up.
Let's talk about why companies are willing to make such a significant investment. What are they hoping to gain?
The first benefit is control. Manufacturing closer to headquarters often improves communication between operations, engineering, quality, and leadership. It becomes easier to solve problems, respond to market demand, and oversee production. There's also greater visibility throughout the manufacturing process.
Another big advantage is speed. Whether it's launching a new product, responding to increased demand, or making manufacturing improvements, shorter supply chains can make organizations much more agile. That's becoming increasingly valuable in today's market.
Of course, none of this comes without challenges.
Where do you think companies underestimate the effort?
Honestly, almost every stage. Building a compliant pharmaceutical manufacturing facility is incredibly complex. You're talking about facility design, clean rooms, utilities, equipment installation, commissioning, qualification, validation, environmental monitoring, documentation, hiring qualified staff, and training everyone before production even begins. It's years of planning, not months.
And then there's the workforce challenge. Even with state-of-the-art facilities, companies still need experienced quality professionals, validation engineers, automation specialists, manufacturing personnel, microbiologists, and regulatory experts. Finding that talent has become increasingly competitive.
One thing we always emphasize is that compliance cannot be something you think about after construction is complete. It has to guide every decision from the very beginning.
Exactly. Every piece of equipment needs to be qualified. Every manufacturing process needs to be validated. Computerized systems need validation. Suppliers need qualification. Changes need documented risk assessments. Training needs to be completed and documented. Quality systems need to be established before commercial production ever starts.
Because once FDA inspectors walk through the door, they aren't just looking at the finished product, they're evaluating how you got there. They want evidence that quality has been built into every step of the process.
Today's facilities also look very different than they did 20 years ago. We're seeing much more automation and digital technology.
Definitely. Manufacturing execution systems, electronic batch records, digital quality management systems, AI assisted analytics, predictive maintenance, automated inspections. These technologies improve efficiency and reduce manual processes, but they also introduce new regulatory expectations. Companies need validated systems, strong data governance, cybersecurity controls, and lifecycle management processes. Technology creates opportunities, but it also raises expectations.
Here's something that surprises a lot of people. Even if manufacturing moves back to the United States, supply chain risk doesn't disappear.
That's right. Many manufacturers still source active pharmaceutical ingredients, raw materials, packaging components, or specialized equipment from other countries. So, reshoring strengthens resilience. But organizations still need comprehensive supplier qualification programs and ongoing risk management. It's about reducing risk, not eliminating it entirely.
Whenever manufacturing changes, inspections usually follow. What should companies be thinking about?
Inspection readiness should never be treated as a last minute activity. FDA inspectors will review validation documentation, quality oversight, deviations, CAPAs, change control, training, supplier management, data integrity practices, and technology transfers. Organizations that build quality into their operations from day one are in a much stronger position than those trying to prepare right before an inspection.
This is where experienced consulting partners can make a real difference. Reshoring impacts virtually every area of an organization.
At Emma International, we work alongside companies throughout these transitions. Whether it's commissioning, qualification and validation, computer system validation, quality management systems, supplier quality, regulatory compliance, inspection readiness, or strategic consulting. Our goal is to help organizations build compliant operations that support long-term success.
Sarah, if you had to leave listeners with one takeaway today, what would it be?
I'd say this: reshoring is much bigger than moving manufacturing closer to home. It's an opportunity to rethink operations, strengthen quality systems, improve resilience, and build a more sustainable future for pharmaceutical manufacturing. But success depends on thoughtful planning and keeping compliance at the center of every decision.
I couldn't agree more. The companies that will benefit most from reshoring aren't necessarily the ones moving the fastest. They're the ones investing in strong quality systems, effective risk management, and long-term operational excellence. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about manufacturing. It's about ensuring patients have reliable access to safe, effective, high-quality medicines.
That wraps up our first episode of Season 5. We have some fantastic conversations coming up this season, covering everything from AI in life sciences and digital transformation to regulatory strategy, inspections, and emerging industry trends.
If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe to Emma International Deep Dive Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And if your organization is planning a manufacturing expansion, modernizing its quality systems, or preparing for regulatory inspections, we'd love to help. Visit minternational.com to learn more about our consulting services. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Emma International Deep Dive Podcast.